Hi everyone, welcome back. This will be a video where we do a revision of the code for video B1. It was brought to my attention that some of the implementations may cause issues when using the method more generally. Specifically, in the contradirectional coupler file, we use generate elements to import the Bragg structure from the other code. And then we create all of our geometries based on that. So if using this method and you call the layout and you pass the layout with a parameter, it could reset all of the values to the default values instead. And that would be some extra debug work that's not immediately obvious. So instead, we're going to go with a better implementation where instead of using generate elements, we're going to use something called generate instances. So we'll create an instance of our Bragg structure instead, pass the values to that, and then we'll just clean up this code over here. So to start off, right above generate elements, we can define a new function called generate instances, and it takes self and it takes a list called instances, and we'll return a list of the instances at the very end. So what we'll want to do next is we can copy over our Bragg code over here, and we'll put it in here. And here's a second mistake I've made. So with each of the Bragg structures, I declare a unique object when I don't need to. They can actually just share the same object declaration since they're going to uniquely have their own when I declare this way. So instead, we can just keep the first line as is and then pass the remaining parameters as they are. And we'll need to remember to remove this Bragg1 over here. So all the way down to the final one. Oops. So delete all these. And then what we'll want to also do is we'll want to add some commas at the very end of these because now they are part of a function's input parameters. And we'll do the same thing for Bragg2 here. So Bragg2, copy this. And we'll indent here to make it easier to see. And you might notice that I've left out the Y position here. So the reasoning is because we can actually do this in the declaration of the instances after. So we'll leave this out for now. And then we'll want to remember to add in our simulation geometry toggle. In this case, because we're using these arguments instead, we can just pass the arguments as is instead of using an if loop. So we can delete that down there. And then we don't need this anymore because it'll be added to an instance list, but we do still want to keep our cladding section. And then we'll come back to this top part here in the generate instance part. So we have two objects to be instanced now, Bragg1 and Bragg2. And what we'll want to do next is we'll want to add that to the instance list. So just like the other lists we've done before, we'll plus equal to the instance, and it'll be a i3.sref. And then inside this, we can give it a name. So we'll call it Bragg1. And then we'll declare what the reference is, which is the reference object up there, which is Bragg1. Don't forget to capitalize here. So the second one's important because it is case sensitive to this object. And then spelling's important here too. So reference. And then finally, we have to pass it a position. So we'll set the first Bragg at 0, 0. And name needs a equal value here to assign to it. And then position is also needs an equal sign. And with that, sref is also spelled wrong. It's a capital R here. And with that, that looks good. So we'll do the same thing for our Bragg2. So we'll just rename it Bragg2. We'll reference the second object. And then this time, if you recall this line that we omitted down here in line 66, we want to write the Y position to the calculate gap position. So we can just actually pass it over here, like so. Or in this case, we have it up here as a function, so it should be fine. And with that change, you should be good to go. Everything else should work exactly the same. The output should be the same. We just avoided some debugging issues if you pass some layout parameters. But yeah, and with that, we'll close off the video here, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.